Introducing
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you being here. It is Thursday. You've made it to the Triple Threat Vet podcast. Thank you for watching. We do this every Thursday right here live at 7. We want to give a big shout out to our guest from last week, Danny Archer. Came on and talked about the Valor Farms equine therapy for veterans and first responders. If you're in the Richmond Hill area of North Carolina, look up Valor Farms and Danny Archer and check out all that good equine therapies. If you don't watch the live show, we do this show live every Thursday, but if you don't watch the live show, we also upload everywhere you get your podcasts. You can check it out there, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and all that stuff. Be sure and like, share, and follow. If you like to tell stories here, we tell veteran success stories. Hit us up at triplethreatvets@gmail.com if you want to come on and tell your story. Big shout out to our biggest partner of the whole show there, Got Your Six Culture. If you need some good apparel by a veteran-owned company, go to sameflagsameoath.com, and as well as a veteran family-owned business, BeckyJoeArt.com, doing a bunch of original art pieces. Like I said, that is part of the veteran family. So big shout out to Becky Joe Art. We got to give a big shout out also to Kyle Shudik and the guys over at Project Zero doing adventure therapy. They have surf fishing. They have a VA grant that allows them to do surf fishing, allows them to do charters, and then of course they have all your traditional therapies, modalities, and therapies that are going on as well. And we will be involved on the 14th of September, Monday, 14th September, with the 5th annual Memorial Golf Scramble for Project Zero. That'll be benefiting all of them. Mitchell Roofing is the defending champion, but I do know that Grant Garrison, a 3-time champion of that event, will also be there. So big shout out to them. And like we said earlier, August 1st, our guest from last week, Danny Archer, working with Valor Farms. Training starts at level 1, groundwork, lunging, stalls, and feeding. You're in the Richmond Hill area of North Carolina, hit up Danny Archer. There's his phone number on the screen. Appreciate you coming on and sharing with that. I know Matt's probably going to talk about this, but I want to make sure that we talk about the book, the Platoon reading list. We've been talking about a lot of books on here, and I just want to read you a passage real quick from this one. This is a book called Healing with Hitting by one of our previous guests, Vincent Rocco Vargas. This is KBNP, Kinetic Bilateral Neuroprocessing. It's the core of what we do. It's what makes healing through hitting more than a workout or a hobby. It's a science in motion. KBNP works by stimulating both hemispheres of the brain through physical, repetitive, focused movement. That's what EMDR does too. EMDR is eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. Also, it's like the ART, Accelerated Resolution Therapy. Check that out if you're into that. We like to talk about different modalities of therapy. We'll talk about this in just a second when Catherine comes on, the president of the auxiliary of VFW Post 8790. But today, our guest is Eric Morante, United States Marine Corps veteran, boxer, and motivational speaker. I see everybody in the house, so before we get to the guest and Catherine, let's hand it over to Matt Johnson.
Hello. It's Thursday. We're live. We're here. And if you're not, you should be. So if you're listening to this after we put it up wherever you get your podcasts, get your ass to the live feed. That's where you should be. Just want to welcome everybody back like we do every week. Excited to talk to our guest today. I always love hearing inspirational stories, and today is going to be no different. And with that, don't be shocked, but there is a hero in the building.
All I'm going to say is I plead the fifth.
How many times?
I plead the fifth.
150.
Well, y'all were shocked he was gonna plead the fifth.
Well, you
He was
can't.
a clown.
You can't get in trouble if you don't say shit, right?
I was a clown, bro.
You know how it goes. If they ask you anything, deny, deny, deny. Like that's how you get out of all the trouble.
That's what you do with your wife, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, Shaggy. It's all good, man.
it wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Oh man. So yeah, good to be back, bro. It's been a couple of weeks, man. I've been kind of in and out. 4th of July, I think, was my last live show with Ty, and then I had family stuff going on and my birthdays, my wife's birthday, my daughter's birthday. It's been crazy.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday to the ladies. I hope you got to spend all of Al's money. That's why he works so hard as the big boss man.
I wouldn't go that far. I be buying shit on credit, bro. The way my bank account is set up, you know what I mean?
Dude, Affirm is the shit, dog.
Hey, bro, I love some Affirm. That's how I fix my pool.
Yeah.
I affirm the salt sale, and I affirm the damn housing for my filter.
Word. You're like, wait, I don't got buy. Yeah, just do that shit. Who gives a
Yeah. $75 for 7
dream,
years.
homie.
Shit, yeah, dude, let's go.
It's the American dream.
Oh yeah. So yeah, but everything's good, bro. Got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of crazy stuff going on. But other than that, man, it's good to be back.
You're the team leader. You know, you heard that George Lopez comedy.
It's a lot, dude. It's a lot going on.
Does your shirt say team leader?
Shit's going on.
I'm gonna make you one to wear there just cause. How about that?
Just because.
I'm gonna put my fucking logo all across the middle of that bitch too. So you wear it, they know what's up.
Just start wearing your t-shirts, your hood, your polos every freaking office meeting.
Yeah, 100%. We're gonna make some polos. We're gonna put the logo across the front chest, and on the fucking sleeve, it's gonna say "Team Fucking Leader." That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, I like that.
We should totally do that.
So September is right on the corner, fellas. How y'all feeling?
I'm excited.
Oh, I don't have to do shit but like what you tell me to do. So it's going to be awesome watching you get stressed the fuck out because it's not going to be you and Ty are the same animal as me. It's not all going to be in a perfect line. Something's going to be out of place, and then we're going to start throwing pots and pans.
So
awesome.
I didn't think I told Ty, but I'll share on here because it is pretty hilarious, especially for all the barbecue people that watch your show. So I did a barbecue competition, me and my brother-in-law, and we would hitch to Florida at this place called The Hitch. It's like a little bar, like they did a big 4th of July thing. And so we're told we're at the bar just drinking one night. And like, we're like, y'all should do a barbecue. And they're like, oh, we got one going on 4th of July. You guys should enter the competition. It's $100, winner take all. Like, we're gonna like, but I was like, so I'm trying to ask her, like, how do you, so it's not like a real barbecue competition for one.
No, but you thought it was a real barbecue competition.
We did. So we paid our entry fee, and we find out the rules are crazy. Like, literally what they're gonna do is they're gonna sell plates through tickets. They're gonna sell a ticket. People can come up to your little area, get a plate, then they're gonna vote with the tickets.
Sound like a crawfish boil, bro.
Yeah, bro. So then they tell us, we got to be there in the morning. Like, you have to be here to cook here. And we're like, all right, cool. So me and my brother-in-law show up 3:00 in the morning. We got everything going. We're set up. It's hot as shit. We're sleeping in the truck till the bar opens. By the way, it opens at like 8 in the morning. So I was like, sweet, it's cool. Like, they serve breakfast and drink, so we can drink and eat. So we're hanging out in the bar all day. We're cooking. And by like noon, we don't see nobody. We the only motherfuckers in the parking lot. I'm like, this is going to be an easy competition, bro. It's just me and you. Well, like 4:00 rolls around, and we see this truck pull up with this massive grill on it. Like, I'm like, there's no way she's cooking. It's a lady. She works at she actually works at the bar. She's like their chef. She does like she has on the food truck, catering, bro. So we're there. She shows up. Her food's already cooked. Like, she didn't have to be there to cook. We're like, this is some bullshit. So we're pissed. Well, then it's like 3:30 in the afternoon by now, almost 4. There's no one else. It's just us and her. So we won. We had all the tickets, but we got hosed. We went to a barbecue competition with 2 motherfuckers, me, him, and one other person, like, competing. So my first alone barbecue competition was me against somebody else. That was it.
Yeah, but you're
the worst.
You're the grand champion. You're the fucking whatever the fuck
bro,
they call those things.
I was grand champ. I was reserve champ. I got first place, everything, because we were the only, like, literally a lady shows up, reheats the food she just came from a catering event on. on her grill. And I even called Jen. She's in the comments. I called Jen because this lady's like, she comes after the barbecue. She's like, we need to figure out how to do a real barbecue competition. I'm like, well, this ain't it. Like I've ever seen. I'm like, but we did. We won like, I don't know, $600 or something like that because they sold tickets and so we won some money, but it was such a fiasco. Like it was a shit show, bro. But
dude, that's the best ones to win. Now you are the one everybody talk about. Y'all know that dude that made that banging barbecue?
Oh yeah,
I do. That's because he cooked it at the place before y'all showed up. Like for real, cooked it. He didn't like go buy it at the store and reheat it on the grill.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It was weird because we're sitting in the bar while people are eating our food. Like there's people, like 25 people with our plates, and they're eating. And like they're critiquing our shit while we're sitting there, right? It's like we're like, this is weird because like they're like, this is the best ribs I've ever had, or this shit's fucking whatever. I'm like, fuck you, bro. The fucking chicken not dry, bitch.
But
like,
look at
I'll slap you.
Look, Jen even said it, bro. A win's a win.
Yeah, we won some money, and I mean it was it was cool, but yeah.
Hold on, you won some money, so we're technically a professional cooking team right now.
Yeah, we won. We were grand champs,
and also
champ, and first place, everything, bro.
I will tell you this,
that on a resume.
Albert. I will tell you this, and I'm gonna call you what your mama calls you, Albert.
Yeah.
I was excited because I was like, man, I'm about to see what these triple threat bet barbecue shirts look like at a competition. What these hats look like. I ain't getting no damn pictures.
Oh, bro, I was so angry.
You had plenty of time. There wasn't nobody else there.
No one, bro. Only grill in the parking lot till like 4:00.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys look good, you cooked good, and then you fucking won. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So, but they want to do a real barbecue. They want to do like an actual barbecue competition. So I was like, I will put you in touch with Jen. She can explain how shit works. Because
they're going to be like, we're out. That's too much work.
The way y'all did it. But I mean, there was a ton of. It was a bad day too. It was the 4th of July, so most people aren't. You know what I mean? But towards like the end of the night, people were flooding into the bar.
In that little town, if they freaking advertised it right, that would have been the place to be on 4th of July.
Oh yeah, it got packed. It got crowded.
But that's what I'm saying. If they would have advertised it correctly, you would have had a shit ton of people there. They could have made a lot of money. But
yeah, so we won against one other person.
Hell yeah! What's the trophy look like?
It's just cash prizes, bro. We can get no trophies.
Bullshit.
It's all good.
I'm gonna go make you a trophy.
I felt good that we beat the lady who works at the bar. Who's
made you feel good?
Professional cook. Like she caters and like I was like, I mean, at
okay,
least
hold
we
on
beat,
though.
Because I thought we were screwed. I'm like, oh, we're competing against the cook, the lady who works here.
Though.
We're screwed.
Hold on.
We're outsiders.
So just because they said they're a caterer, you think that's a professional cook?
Close. I mean,
bro, anybody could go to like wherever, Chipotle, and buy the damn pan and put it in and be like, I catered this event. That don't mean they cooked it.
My daughter thinks you're a fashion designer. I mean, what the fuck?
I totally am.
Technically.
Yeah.
Nope, Jen, not even a piece of paper. We got our picture on their Facebook page, The Hitch.
Hell yeah. We're about to go follow that bitch and like drop all kinds of nasty comments about Al in that one. Yeah. I heard that dude cheated. He cooked at the bar. That's not how that went. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it was tough, bro.
Well, congrats. So now you got big shoes to fill. Like you're off a win coming to the next one, bro. I'm gonna be disappointed.
Well, that's part of life. Disappointment's part of life. Just be ready.
I think your team should be called the Three Little Pigs, Ty. It's already named. It's the Triple Threat Bet Cookers.
What is that Bob asking about? When are new shirts coming out?
Yeah, okay. When the F are the new shirts coming out? The CG here at Fort Campbell said he was going to check y'all out. He saw Al's shirt. Of course he saw Al's shirt. Everybody fucking saw Al's shirt.
Okay, but hold on. Bob, here's what I'll tell you. I will make a shirt that you design, and we'll say it's your fucking shirt. Tell those people that are waiting for the new shit to come out to go buy the shit that's already there. Like, honestly, there's already designs on the website. Like, they could go buy those. To them, those are brand new. That's all I'm saying. Just saying. I'm pretty busy, Bob. I got a lot of shit going on, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to pull my head out.
Those out there that do need a shirt, you can go to www.sameflagsameoath.com and get some of that good stuff.
Show can.
Well, hey, before we get too far into this, I want to bring on the president of the VFW Post 8790 Auxiliary, Catherine Alexander, and she's going to talk a little bit about some events they got coming up. Welcome to the show, Miss Catherine.
Thank you so much for having me and letting us be on your show tonight. Unfortunately, RG's coaching baseball tonight, so he couldn't make it. But this is our 8th annual Boots and Heroes Gala. We started out with a very small thing to honor our veterans, and we've grown into a gala starting last year. It's going to be a fun gala. It's not a stuffy gala. Wear your boots, wear your best rodeo stuff. We want to have you come and have a good time. We're trying something new this year. We're having the Julux Band dueling pianos. They're really a great group. We spent a couple of nights with them to watch them and how they pull people in and engage people in the crowd. So bring your music you want to hear. They'll be ready to play it for you. This is for our time for us to bring our community together to recognize the dedication of our veterans and support the year-round programs and services that the VFW at Post 8790 Auxiliary does. During the evening, we will proudly honor 3 outstanding veterans who've committed their lives to as a veteran and positive impact on the community after their service. We also have a meaningful dedication presenting the Michael Contreras Memorial Scholarship, honoring the legacy of devoted VFW veteran comrade. The scholarship, the second year for this, I think we're going to give away $3,000 in scholarship this year. And that's to a freshman going into college that really could use some help, as you know. I don't even think that'll cover the cost for the books, but let's hope it helps them a little bit. We're also proud to continue our meaningful tradition by presenting that to the family. Will be there, so they'll present it to the recipient. Every ticket you purchase, sponsorship secured, and donation made directly benefits veterans and the local community. Whether you attend, become a sponsor, donate an auction item, or make a contribution, your support helps us continue making a difference in the veteran community. Please come join us. Promise you will have a delicious meal. Livestock Rodeo usually donates the cattle, I'm sorry, I can't think what I'm saying. Dr. Love, he is the cook we're having, and he gets the steaks donated by the Houston Livestock Rodeo. And there will be a delicious 8-ounce steak for everyone, plus a full meal. Great desserts, great laughter, great fun, great items for auctioning off. And it's a night for us to show what we can do to support our veterans, and that's in our community. And we do hope you'll join us. I know Eric that's with you tonight. He's one of our honorees, and we're so glad he accepted the invitation to be an honoree. We usually have city council there. We have all of our county people there. We have our state representative, Lacey Hall, probably would be there to thank these veterans and for what they do. I know that Dr. Jones from the City of Houston Veterans Affairs will definitely be there, and she'll be doing her part where she's going to honor these veterans. So come out and have some fun, some dancing, great music, great camaraderie. We just wish y'all would come. I think he's got the QR code up there. There's different sponsorship levels. It doesn't really matter. We also are offering free seats to veterans who would like to come and that really don't have the money to pay for it. We don't want to leave anyone out. We just want our veterans to come and enjoy what we're doing. And we pray for those that are in harm's way right now. And we hope that you come be. I don't remember if you made it last year or not, but it's an event to have a good time. We have great notarized in Houston that come. So just come be with us, have a good time, have some dancing, have some music, have some good food, and remember those veterans.
Well, Miss Catherine, I appreciate you so much for coming on and talking about it. And Miss Jen was in the comments, Miss Jen Lee from Post 2427. She said she's going to be buying a table this week. So
thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Catherine Alexander, and we have the QR code in the screen. Catherine Alexander is the president of the VFW Post 8790 Auxiliary. They're doing great stuff for veterans, supporting the mission of the National VFW. Thank you so much for what you do. We appreciate you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me be on tonight. Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Catherine Alexander.
I mean, they said they're going to give $3,000. I totally agree with Catherine that $3,000 will not pay for books, but $3,000 will definitely put a good dent into the first college party budget. You know what I mean? It'd be great.
Hell yeah.
I'm just kidding. Use it for education. Why would you use it for a party? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you could educate yourself on the importance of hydration.
That and social experiments,
yeah, exactly.
Making sure that you get out there and put yourself out there to meet new people. There's all kinds of good things that you could do with that.
Yeah, but the QR code is in the corner of the screen there. But go ahead and hit that up for the VFW Post 8790 2026 Boots and Heroes Gala.
Word. Hey, Al, you should come to that. Make sure you wear them boots you bought when you was drunk, though. You know what I mean? Muted.
I gave them to my nephew.
What?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Did you get your ass beat for that one?
Nah. They were very uncomfortable. I wore them to a funeral, and I wore them to 2 funerals. That was it. Never wore them.
Okay, so how much did he pay for them?
Nothing. They just gave them to him.
Damn, bro.
He said he used some nice boots to wear at his wedding, and I was like,
what size were they?
9.
Why the fuck didn't you call me? I would have taken them for free.
They were
Here's about that your nephew. What does he need them for?
I'm telling you, they were the most uncomfortable.
Hey, Al, could you do me a favor and get real drunk tonight and buy another pair and then hook your boy up? I'm just asking. It's for a friend.
Here you go. I just might.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
When I'm on whiskey, I'm not allowed to have my phone anymore. So.
Oh, and Jen, thank you. Me and Al and Ty, we're really trying to do what they say happens on the other side of the circle with the ladies. We're trying to get our beards matching, just kind of like, the week matches. I've heard that happens. So we're just trying to make sure the beards match for the barbecue tournament. Although I'm going to have to go dye mine into a butthole ring to match Al's. It's going to be a whole thing, but we'll get there.
No, this is trademarked. This shit's trademarked.
That's trademarked.
It's trademarked, dude.
Oh, it's funny. Well, without further ado, I think it's now time to bring on our guest,
let me read his bio real quick. Eric Morante joined the Marine Corps after high school graduation in 2003. He thrived in the Marine Corps and over the next 3.5 years rose to the rank of sergeant. During his 3rd deployment in 2007, while serving as an infantry squad leader in Iraq, a suicide bomber changed the course of Eric's life. Eric and his men were guarding a bridge, literally there for over a month, when a suicide bomber drove a truck with over 3,000 pounds of explosives under the bridge and exploded it on April 20th, 2007. Of the 8 members of the squad, 7 Marines and their Navy corpsmen, 6 were severely injured and had to be medevac'd out. Eric lost his right leg above the knee in the blast and also shattered his wrist. Since coming home, Eric has found a passion in boxing and hopes to make Paralympic boxing a recognized Olympic sport. And he's settled in San Antonio to be near his family. His recovery, which was initially in Bethesda Naval and subsequently in San Antonio, was a long road that he learned much about himself. He continues to give back to caring for the Marine Corps, his Marine Corps platoon members, and through boxing, he hopes others will see that he continues to live his life to the fullest, giving back to all those he loves as best he can. He was also able to pursue a culinary degree and hopes to one day open a restaurant or have a food truck. A suicide bomber took so much from Eric, but he did not break the spirit of this outstanding Marine or any of his men. He just reinforced their resolve to live and defend the land of the free. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Morante. Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome. Like it's like I said when we kind of opened up, Eric, I love inspirational stories, and our audience values inspirational stories. So it is a pleasure to have you on. I can't wait to learn more about you. And then who knows, maybe we'll see you at the gala. I don't know. We might make Al get drunk and buy a table to that too. You know what I mean? It'd be great.
Sounds good. I agree with the getting drunk part.
I'm just waiting for Eric to get into the boxing stuff, like with like you said, the Paralympics. I want to do personally fight quadriplegics because I think I got a good shot if they just blow that little tube to move around. Like they really don't have, they can't. I think I have a shot against paraplegics. That's the only way I'm gonna beat somebody.
Careful what you wish for, man. I do a lot of stuff with the PVA out here in San Antonio, and I've seen them do some crazy stuff.
All right, well, never mind. Maybe I can fight little children, little kids. Maybe I don't know. Like, toddlers? Can I beat up toddlers?
They might have a sport for that.
Damn, bro. There
Yeah,
might be a community for that on OnlyFans. I don't know.
Oh well, you never know. But yeah, maybe that's the next sponsorship deal. Maybe. Yeah. So if you heard that, hit Al up. He's always been looking for a way to get into OnlyFans. I just don't know if his original.
My feet ain't gonna do it. They're nasty. But I don't know. I've thought of some ideas. We'll see.
Oh yeah, I've been in the brainstorming sessions. They're amazing.
They are amazing, bro.
Oh, yeah. All good ideas come through whiskey. Anyway, So Eric, welcome to the show. We're excited to have you. What we like to do is learn all about you, like growing up, military career, things that you're into now. But starting off with all of our guests like to just get to know you initially. So what we like to do is just ask you to tell us a little bit about where did you grow up and what was it like for you as a kid? What kind of things you're into? What were your hobbies? Like kind of walk us through your pre-military career.
Yeah, most definitely. So I'm actually from Houston, Texas, not too far from post 8790. I remember as a kid, I was growing up, we would go there for like certain quinceañeras or like wedding venues, and I never saw myself as a future member or a future, recipient of the VFW. At the time, I just thought it was a really cool spot. You know, I grew up probably about 2 or 3 miles from there. Graduated high school from Springwoods High School. All in Spring Branch area was pretty much my stomping grounds or growing up grounds, and I learned a lot of stuff there. From our neighbors, just the community, and went to elementary school, middle school, and high school pretty much within like a 5 mile radius of one another. So I stayed in Spring Branch until I turned 18.
Nice. And so growing up, sports, what kind of things were you doing as a kid?
Yeah,
Like,
dude, I was
in
always
Texas, there's
active,
all
bro.
kinds of stuff to do.
There's
But,
so much stuff to do in Texas, man, and football is one of the big ones. Once I got into middle school, because I started playing soccer in elementary school, on the weekends. I started doing that, and then once we got to middle school, where they opened up all the sports and curricular activities, I did track, I did cross country, basketball, football. But football is the one that I kind of stayed more along with, and I followed that one all the way out through high school. Um, I was really big into cooking as a kid. Both parents were holding jobs down, so they were constantly at work. Mom usually got home probably about 5:30 ish. So the night before, she would usually take out like some meat from the freezer, and then whenever I get home from elementary school, she would have me like kind of start browning the stuff, so that way when she got there, she could put her seasoning and finish up the meal, and then not eat too late. So I really got intrigued by cooking, and I had to cook for my little sister sometimes, she's the worst critic ever, anyways. So she was rough, man. But yeah, so I grew up cooking and fighting. Was my deal. My dad knew I had a niche for boxing. At a very young age, he bought my first pair of gloves when I was 5, and when I went over to my dad's house for the weekend visitation, I kind of started slapboxing with my brother. He started slapboxing with me, and I ended up hitting him with the glove on and knocked out his tooth. So my dad's like, I think you should pursue that, And I was gonna go in the career of being a professional fighter. At that time, I still had that mindset, but I knew I was going to join the military first. And again, with RJ, I know RJ he's the head guy there at 8790. He's the commander there. Well, he ended up going to ROTC, and in Spring Branch area, all those schools only have one center where everybody that's in ROTC goes and meets up at. So every year I would always be at the galas, but I was never in ROTC. I just knew I was going to join the Marine Corps once I got out of high school. And that's exactly what happened. I turned 17. We were at the mall. Some of the recruiters were there, and they saw me and my buddies hanging out. And, they kind of looked at us, and they're like, hey, what do you guys got planned after high school? And I turned around, looked at them. I said, I'm joining the Marine Corps. And as soon as I said that, their ears like jumped up, and they freaking saw easy target, right? So they're like, oh, hell yeah, let's go ahead and start talking about that now. And they're like, you can join when you're 17. You just get your parents to sign. I said, no, I'll come back when I'm 18. I said, don't worry about it. And then when I turned 18, I went back and I was like, hey, guys, remember me? And they're like, yeah, most definitely. I said, well, I'm ready to sign up. I'm 18 already. And I was still in high school at the time. So I joined into the DEP program, still in high school. My recruiters came to my graduation, and then I graduated May. And then I was in boot camp by July 3rd.
Nice.
Of 2003.
So backing up just a little bit, you said a whole bunch of stuff that I'm really interested in. So growing up playing football and boxing, right? Sports, all that stuff. Were you boxing like in like a gym in Houston? Did you go around and box in like matches when you were younger, or did you just train in it?
Yeah, so where my family grew up at, where I was living at the time, there wasn't any boxing gyms anywhere near us. If I wanted to go train, I'd had to go like downtown area or go further out east, which was a problem because, like I said, both my parents worked. So um, I ended up going to Mexico maybe when I was like 13 and a half for the summer. And I got with my uncle and my grandfather, and I went to a professional boxing athletic store, and I bought the Cleto Reyes gloves, or I wanted to buy the Cleto Reyes gloves, which is what the professional fighters were using back then. De La Hoya, Chavez, Trinidad, Roy Jones Jr., all those guys had those, those world renowned gloves. And I wanted to buy those because I was tired of using the stuff from like, Academy or like, Walmart or whatever, the little sports section where they sell you those little pleather gloves that really don't do anything. And the gentleman that was working the store advised my uncle not to get them for me because he's like, these aren't for kids. These are professional like boxing gloves. So I had $300 saved up, and I didn't end up getting them that day because my uncle said that they were, too dangerous. And I threw a fit like for about a week. And I was like, man, I really wanted those gloves. I really wanted those gloves. Long story short, when I was returning home, my uncle and grandfather went and purchased them for me. So they bought me, they came in a two pair. You can't even buy them one pair because it's almost unfair. So I ended up buying, well, they bought both pairs, and I came home with 4 gloves that were 12-ounce Cleto Reyes gloves. They're all leathered, lace-up gloves, professional type style gloves. And we started using those in high school with this group that we ended up calling the Backyard Brawl. And we would just get kids together, and, it'd be like, hey, you want to square up with him and face off? And then from there, we just started, creating a ring of just guys in the backyard. And it got to the point where it got popular to where, people were making flyers and inviting, spectators to come and watch. So we were using my gloves at the time, and we would go from apartment complex to someone else's house, to someone else's backyard, to the park sometimes, and we would just put gloves on and just start throwing hands.
Nice. That's awesome. There you go.
Yeah, those are them. But
so
the lace-up ones are.
The other question that I have for you is, so you didn't do ROTC, but you were talking about going to the VFW in high school. So I guess you and RG knew each other growing up?
Yeah, so RG was in Northbrook, which was the rival school, and his wife was my best friend's older sister. So we went to middle school together, her younger sister and I went to middle school together. And then when we went to high school, we went to different high schools. But at the Gunther Center, that's where all the ROTC from all the schools went together. So when they had the ball, it was a combined ball. Now, it was a Navy ball because the person that was in charge was the Master Chief. And he was a really cool dude. He knew me because, like I said, I had been to every one of the balls. But I just didn't want to join an ROTC program and then, go into the military, go into the Marine Corps, having to learn something completely different, from the rank structure and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So I kind of just stayed, away from ROTC and wanted to go do the real thing.
Yeah. So, for you, at what point growing up did the military become, that's what I'm going to do when I graduate? Because obviously you went to Mexico, you went to the gym, you were fighting, you were, not that you were a professional fighter yet, but it's something you love to do, something that you thought about doing professionally. What made you decide going into the service first was the way that you wanted to go?
9/11. Yeah, September 11, bro. I think I was still a sophomore / junior when that happened. And I didn't know the extent of damage when I was watching everything on TV. It happened in New York. And again, I was in Houston. And I was like, but that's on the other side of the country. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with us. And I was completely wrong. you know, because after seeing all the damage and the effects of everything that happened, I was like, dude, this is crazy for us to take a blow like that. And I wanted to go and make sure that the fight stayed somewhere else instead of having it in our backyard, you know.
Hmm. And so were you were in school when 9/11 was happening? And what
Oh
was it
yeah.
like for you that day? Like
Yeah,
I like the
we were
perspective if you weren't in yet, like where were you? What were you doing? Right. So how was it for you
yeah,
that day?
I was literally in a computer class. And our teacher came into the classroom and she's like, everybody get off your monitors. You know, at the time she, you know, we still had the projectors and the rolling TVs and stuff. And she's like, we have to watch the news right now. And this was like at 10 o'clock in the morning. So we're all just sitting there watching, you know, everything happening over the news live. And it's just like, damn, that shit's crazy for it to be happening like this. And then, you know, they let us finish out the rest of the school day. And then when I got home, I mean, every newscast, English, Spanish, it was all over the news. And again, at the time, I didn't realize the extent of what was going on. I just heard that, you know, saw that the planes had hit the towers, but you know, it wasn't considered a terrorist attack until later on when they did more investigation. At first, they thought it was just an accidental, you know, crash, but it definitely
Mhm.
was not. So once that occurred, then I was like, yeah, I definitely have to sign up. So I needed to finish graduating high school in order to get sent off, and you know, joined in on the delayed entry program as a senior, um, and then finished out 8 months, and I was ready to go.
Nice. So when you went back, you joined, you did delayed entry. So like you pretty much as soon as you could get in, you went in. Where did you go to boot camp?
San Diego, California.
Oh,
Yep,
look at
MCRD,
you.
Hollywood
Hollywood Marine.
Marines.
There you
Yeah,
go. So
best ones, man.
for you, uh so boxing, doing all the things you did with your friends, obviously you guys put things together and you guys are around doing that. That's not just something you're going to go do just to be like, oh, we're hanging out, let's do it. That takes a lot of work, right?
Oh yeah.
So how was it for you going from what you were doing, boxing, doing all that stuff? You join the Marines, you go to boot camp. How was the transition from being in Houston, Texas, now going to California to be a Marine? Did you have any? I'm sure the physical part was not a problem, I would imagine. But was there anything that when you got there, you're like, man, this is going to be pretty tough?
Yeah, the toughest part of my boot camp was that we weren't allowed to laugh or smile at some of the funniest things you'll ever encounter in your life, man. It was freaking some of the stuff that the drill instructors would make the other recruits do, or you know, the stuff that they would say was, to me, it was freaking hilarious, but you weren't allowed to smile or laugh, man. So every time I would crack a smile, I get my ass sent to the quarter deck and get smoked, you know. And when I first, that was my first plane ride actually, when I went to San Diego on boot camp orders. So I got on the plane. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. You know, I've never been to California before. Get to San Diego, and it's like we get there and it's nighttime. You know, we get to the airport. They have you kind of wait around, and then the buses show up. And once you get on the buses, man, the drill instructors, you know, flip the switch, and it's full on from there until you graduate. So it was a three month program. I ended up graduating October 10th, and boot camp was crazy, man. Like I said, it was nonstop. You know, pretty much when I got there, I laughed because the drill instructors, you know, you get that phone call home and they're like, tell your parents that you're getting 8 hours of sleep, you're getting 3 meals a day, and that we're not allowed to put hands on any recruit. Right. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have a fucking skate ass time then. Because at home I was getting my ass whooped on the daily pretty much. So I was like, I wanted to call home and gloat, you know, to tell my sister I'm getting 3 meals a day and no one can touch me, yada, yada, yada. Well, I didn't know that next week I was going to get drop kicked and then choked out a couple times um, from some of my drill instructors. But it was a good experience, man. Like I said, it was fun to me. I love boot camp. I love the discipline, the kind of structure that they give you. I probably could have done my first 4 years of enlistment at boot camp, and that kind of
Yeah.
made me a factor of coming back as a drill instructor and wanting to pursue that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you join the Marine Corps to do? What was your MO? Was it just infantry?
Oh
That's it, or
man,
did you
yeah,
have a secondary?
I went straight in for that. So my high school coach, my soccer coach, he was a former Army soldier, and I was talking to him about stuff, and he was explaining it to me, and he was like, "Hey, well, what do you want to do overall? Like, what's going to be your overall career?" And I was like, "I see myself opening up a restaurant and kind of, having a having my own menu and kind of creating my own twist of things and watching people enjoy my food." And he goes, "Well, if you're really serious about food," he goes, "I would highly suggest not for you to join the Marine Corps and become a cook." And, I was like, "Well, why is that?" And he's like, "Because you're just going to cook massive amounts of food to feed 500 plus. You follow a recipe. You can't change it. You can't put extra seasoning in it. You can't make it your way. You have to follow the way that the structure is." And he's like, "You're going to be up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for breakfast at chow hall at 4. And then you'll come back again and you'll make lunch and then you'll have dinner." And he's like, "You're pretty much working all day, every day, 7 days a week." So he's like, "If you're really passionate about it," he goes, "I wouldn't go try to be a cook or a chef while in the Marine Corps." So I said, "Okay, well, if that's knocked out of the equation, I'm going straight infantry." And I signed up for my, ASVAB, took the test, passed, and they were like, "Well, what job do you want?" I said infantry, and that was easy peasy because they were
They leaned in the chair and went, "Oh,
yeah,
it was
they're
that
like,
one. Okay, great.
I was
We don't
probably
have to talk."
the easiest
Yeah.
recruit. They started giving me the little, "Hey, this is, what's your 7 or 8 different like virtues that would make you want to join? Is it the camaraderie? Is it the brotherhood? Is it this? Is it that?" I was like, "Bro, you don't have to do none of that stuff." I was like, "Save all that stuff for the next guy." I was like, I get it and everything, but I'm ready to go, and I was like, I need
Yeah.
to get out of Houston. I want to do something back. I feel like I'm actually doing something that's going to make a difference. And like I said, I wanted to take the fight to them and not have it in our territory anymore. Because again, I grew up with, my younger sisters and watching over them. And I was just thinking about my family. I was like, man, I would suck to hear some news if something were to ever to happen to my family while we were still here and then be helpless about it. So I figured this would be the best way to take the fight to them and not have it in our yard.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's that a lot of people after that 9/11 were there. I remember I was going into recruiting duty in 2001. Almost didn't make it because of 9/11, but when I got there, all the recruiters, I mean, same as you were there in high school presentations, recruiters trying to get people to join. Shut pagers down. Back then, everybody had pagers or those Motorola chirp to talk phones, and like everything was blowing up. And they told recruiters, "Y'all need to go home." Recruiters are like, "Oh, something fucked up happened." Like they told us to willingly go home, and it's only like 10 o'clock, because everybody's like, "What's going on?" So once you get out of boot camp, you finish your training for infantry. Where was your first duty station?
I ended up going back to Camp Pendleton, California to do my School of Infantry training, which happened late October, early November. And then I graduated there January 12th of 2004. After that graduation, they shipped me off to 29 Palms, California, um, which is in the middle of Mojave Desert. So I got stationed in 29 Palms. I was there just enough to get all my serialized gear. I did one 3-day training op at March Air Force Base, which doesn't exist anymore. And then by February 14th, we were already in Kuwait, getting ready to step into Iraq for my first deployment. And I hadn't even been in the military in 6 months yet. I was already gone.
Wow.
Good old 29 Stumps. I know that place well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, great facility, right?
Oh.
Great base.
Fuck, it's beachfront property, bro.
Yes,
Right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Looking over Lake Bandini.
Yeah. So when you get in, right, and it's so obviously I want to join the Marine Corps and be infantry. I want to take the fight to them and keep it over there. You're in 6 months and they're like, "You're going now." Were you like, "Hell yeah, let's go"? Or you're like, "Well, damn, that was quick." Like, was it faster than you expected, or were you more like, "Well, let's go"? Because like you just trained me all this shit. I might as well go get it in right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely thought it came a little too fast. Our seniors were already in for about 3 years. They had done so much training in that time frame. They've done jungle training, guerrilla warfare training. They were doing 27 was a helo company back then, so they were doing all kinds of fast roping down out in Yuma, and they went to Japan, they went to Oki, they were in the Philippines. They went on a Mew, so they had all kinds of training behind them, but just not the experience. And then with us, it was like we had little training and no experience, but we got our experience pretty much hands on right after the initial push. Yeah, so that we did a 7-month deployment, and for the Marine Corps, they do 7-month deployments, but we were expeditionary at the time, so we were bouncing. We came into Kuwait, and then we flew in to Fallujah, and then from Fallujah they pushed us out to the Syrian and Jordanian border. So my battalion was split up. One company was in the Ramadi area, another company was in the Jordan border, and then we were at the Syrian border. And about 3.5 months into that, that's when Fallujah got retaken over, and then they called us to do that joint ops, the Ripper Sweep. So then we picked up and moved out of the Syrian border and went and did a 2-week excursion, living off the back of the 5 tons, the Hummers and the highbacks for 2-week sweep. I mean, it was some of the craziest time that I can recall. But it happened so fast. That deployment kind of came and went, and then our seniors ended up EAS, and some of them stayed in, some of them got fapped out to different places or picked their B billets, and they bounced out. And then we became the seniors, a month after we had came back, and then we were gone again 6 months later.
So they basically had you like RV living for 2 weeks. That's what they called it, right? It's gonna be the RV life, dude. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so much fun. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's funny. So
it was a trip.
Kind of walk us through. You guys went all over the place over there, but I mean, if you want to, if you wouldn't mind, or if it would be okay, walk us through, like, what were you feeling? What was it like when they're like, all right, first mission, we're going out, this is what we're going to do? Like, can you walk us through that? Like, what were you thinking when you got out there? How was it when you got back? All those things of like, this is the first time you're going out to do this. Again, knowing that there's very little experience, and your leadership is like, you'll be fine. I know what I'm doing. You're like, okay, great. This is going to be good,
Yeah, no, I had total belief in my seniors. Like I said, just from all the training that they had prior to, I felt like we were in good hands, and I had very much positive vibes coming from the leadership. So I just followed along and, did what I was told. It was tough because it was excruciating heat. I was fatigued, like I was falling asleep standing up while people were talking to me. That's how exhausted I was. My camis were just demolished, man. I mean, they looked like I had been rolling around in the mud or just working construction all day long, in those camis. And then, we did the Fallujah Ripper Sweep, and we ended up getting on a rooftop one time, and we set up an OP for a couple of hours. And, the rooftops over there, they have like the black tarp, and then you got like a little lip of just cover. So it's all flat roofs. It's all made out of cement. And we get orders to pick up and move. We're basically satellite patrolling through Fallujah, and my team leader calls out for me, and he's like, hey, we're picking up, we're moving to the next house. And I tried to get up, and dude, I was stuck onto the roof. Like I had melted, the tar had melted onto me, and I was stuck. They had to Velcro and pull me off of the roof. They had to come get me. I had tar like stripes. I looked like a freaking zebra. All the way down my camis. It was on my rifle. It was on my magazines. I mean, it was nuts. So they had to bring in a new pair of camis for me to wear because I stood out like a sore thumb, and they didn't want to have, us kind of basically pinned down or knew it was our battalion because I stood out like a sore thumb. So they ended up getting me some nice, fresh, crispy camis, which sucked, by the way, because once you get a first pair of camis, they're still very, kind of itchy and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I hadn't broken those in yet. And I still stood out because everybody else had the salty freaking look, and I was the only one with like a brand new freaking, Yeah, camis, and it was a trip, man. But I mean, we had a fast 7-month deployment on that one, and we were just moving from place to place. We did a lot of kicking down doors in Aruba. We did border patrol. We did security. We did a lot of stuff on the roads, a lot of LPOPs. And at the time, the IEDs weren't as accurate or as powerful as they became. So there were still a lot of bombs going off, is that there were just a lot of misfires. We had mortar attacks constantly, rockets being shot at us, but they wouldn't come too close. They were aiming for us, but they just couldn't get their stuff together at the time. And it wasn't until my second deployment to where they kind of honed in a little bit better, and they acclimated their tactics to kind of.
So overall, in the first deployment, you guys did a lot of missions, went all over the place. Did it get hairy? Did you guys have any kind of, aggression? Did you guys get into any kind of action, or was it more like just trying to learn the ropes or get through it, or just do patrols looking?
We got a little bit of everything on that one. A lot of times we'd go through towns, and they would have the kids throwing rocks at us. And at the time, we had the Humvees with the high backs on them. So you would hear incoming, and all of a sudden, you'd have to tuck down, put your helmet up towards the sky, because all these rocks were coming in, and we were getting welted by rocks. And some kids loved us, some other kids hated us. People were just back and forth. Like I said, it was like a 50-50. But it was pretty sketchy. I mean, that's where I kind of felt like my whole innocence, like adolescent life and everything like that, kind of just went out the window. Seeing the fear in people's eyes, the civilian lives over there when we were raiding houses or kicking down doors. And then, that first firefight, you never forget. So again, this was in Fallujah, and we were on that rooftop, and a dump truck saw a couple of Marines crossing the road, and they opened up fire thinking it was just them. And we had a whole battalion, literally in the surrounding areas. And I had an ACOG at the time. Back in 2004, they only issued out 2 ACOGs per squad, and they gave them to the best shooters right on the squad, and we became the Guardian Angels. So me and another buddy from Texas ended up getting the ACOG. So whenever I zoomed in and started looking at the truck that was firing, I saw the 2 bodies in the cab, and then I saw the truck that in the back. It looked like a fuel tank or a water tank type deal, and the whole freaking company just started opening up on it. And I was watching all the bullets impact, the glass shattering, and then one of the snipers ended up hitting the gas tank, and it blew the truck up completely. And then you could just feel the heat just kind of come in, and from the blast. And I looked up, and I was like, man, I don't even need to pull the trigger for, I was like, these guys are pretty much cooked. So I was like, I don't want to waste. Yeah, I don't want to waste any ammo, and I don't want to shoot at something that's pretty much already taken care of. And then again, I don't want to give away a position. So we're just kind of scanning the area, and you could smell the bodies cooking. And again, it was just, we're picking up and we're moving to the next spot. And then from there, it was just town after town or door after door for 2 weeks. I mean, it was brutal, man. It was so bad. We never took our Kevlar plating off in the 2 weeks time frame. So most of us have started getting a bunch of like sweat and heat rashes on our backs. So when we finally got done with that and went back to Camp Korean Village, and we were able to finally shower and everything, dude, everybody's back looked like they had just, these bubble welts of just water and sweat, and, just fucking bacteria rose. It was pretty gruesome. But yeah, that's some of the stuff, like I said, it stays in your head, and it stays in your body, to where, you'll never forget stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So after your first deployment, seeing all that stuff, what was it like coming home? Did you go on leave after that first deployment to see family? And if so, what was it like coming back and then being around your family after going over and seeing all that stuff? Like, what was how was your your ability to be around them, or did that change anything? Did
Oh,
they
yeah.
ask you a whole bunch of questions? You know, like what was it like to be back around your family? To
Yeah,
them,
I didn't.
right? They're here, it's
Mhm.
all good, and all the stuff you'd seen. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about PTSD at that time. So when I came back from that first deployment, um, my mom had like changed my room around. She moved me from one room to the other room, and I asked her if she could keep everything the same. And my sister was gonna get the bigger room, so they ended up putting me in the smaller room. And I was only gonna be home for like 10 to 12 days, and then I was gonna go back to 29 Palms. Well, I ended up having like a nervous breakdown because during that 7 month deployment, I carried all my stuff in a sea bag, and then I had my regular Molly pack, and I could tell you today still exactly where every one of my items that was in that sea bag, where it was at, without even having to look inside of it. And then I'm coming back home, and I don't know where my socks are at in my dresser drawer. You know what I mean? It was like the one comforting feeling that I was looking for is coming back home and seeing like everything had stayed the same, and it was completely different. From the music that was coming out on the radio, there was a bunch of new songs that came out. Everything that I was listening to was considered old now. And then I was like, well, shit, I was only gone for 7 months. You know what I mean? um but I came back, and like I said, it was just a different field, man. I couldn't sleep in my bed anymore. I ended up sleeping like in the living room. I was on the couch or on the floor. Anytime a car would pass by, like at midnight or 10 o'clock, past 10 o'clock, my ears would perk up. I'd jump up real quick and kind of check the window and make sure nobody was coming. It was just like you were on high alert still, and your body was not able to just shut down and be able to take the R&R that we needed properly, because again, you're kind of still in that mindset of being over there, where you had to be on watch pretty much 24/7.
And was there any so at late at night when you would jump up and you go to the window, was your family seeing it? Were they asking you questions? And I'm sure that didn't, if they were, that probably didn't help very much.
Yeah.
Or was it like, oh no, it's just no big deal, I'm just still like tired from jet lag? Or were you just kind of pushing it off?
No, I was pushing it off. I really didn't. I mean, to me, that was my new normal. You know what I mean? Um, being overseas changed me drastically. So when I came back home, it's like I still couldn't relax. Being at home, and I don't remember anybody asking me like what's wrong, or what the outcome was, but they they didn't ask me anything about it, but they noticed it. They definitely noticed it. They definitely could see a change in my demeanor. I was very short fused. When I wanted to get something taken care of, like let's just say, hey, I wanted to go to the grocery store and go get something, and my mom was like, no, 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 we'll leave it for later. I'm like, no, we got to get this taken care of like now. Let's go knock that out and get it out of the way. And she didn't understand that, and I was like, well, that's what we need to do, and then we got to get the job done. And I had that urgency, like that mission completion mentality, and for something that was something small, like let's go get some juice or some sodas or something from the store, and that ended up turning into like a mission for me. I'm like, well, no, if we need it, we got to go get it. So, they just couldn't figure out like as to why I was so persistent on getting things done like right then and there.
Maybe they thought it was you're in the military, disciplined now, you're doing all the things in the military. At first, maybe they didn't ask anything because maybe they just thought like, oh, that's part of like
The
you're in
structure.
this structured environment, and like you're doing all these things, and like, no, we got to go do it now. It's like responsibility and accountability. So maybe at first they were probably like, oh, this is just probably, it's what you're trained to do. And so they're probably like, oh, for them, maybe that they thought that was normal to come back and do that. You know what I mean? So there's really no question there.
Right.
So how long between coming home from the first deployment did you guys go on the second deployment?
We were only home for 6 months.
There you go.
Yeah, we did a 7-month deployment, came back for 6 months, and then we're on another 7-month deployment. So my first 2 years of my Marine Corps career, I had 14 months in Iraq, 3 months of boot camp training, and then 3 months of SOI training.
So you were gone all the time.
at 29 Palms, because of the temperature, we were the ones that were most acclimated to being in Iraq or in that type of desert environment. So at one point in time, all of 29 Palms was overseas, and that's 1-7, 2-7, 3-7, and 3-4. That's 4 battalions, and all 4 of us were gone at one point in time. And that time they were rotating in Marines from the East Coast, from Japan, to come out there and start doing training in CAX, and then Mojave Viper, to get them kind of acclimated to it. And in the meantime, they were just putting us on a wagon wheel of rotation, so we kept going back and forth until they started sending like 123 out there, the other units that are out on the East Coast, and to relieve us, to kind of get a little bit more time. And after that second deployment, we ended up coming back to 29 Palms for a year before we deployed on that third deployment.
So
but it's not like it was you come home and then you're just hanging out. Like, we continued training that whole time. So once we came back from deployment, we started getting fapped out to different NCO schools, close marksman program, the hand-to-hand combat stuff. So we'd get fapped out to these schools and get certified, and then come back and train the rest of the company. What you picked up, what you learned at those division schools, to come teach the rest of the company. And then we'd go put those in use while we were doing those missions there at 29 Palms, and then back to another deployment. So it was constant.
Yeah.
You're either deployed or you're preparing for deployment. That's the only thing. You got the weird training cycles and you're doing CAX all the time. I mean, Matt remembers. I mean, we either we're deployed or we're coming home prepping for the next deployment. There's never like a downtime. I mean, you get a couple of days, a couple of weeks of leave, but I mean, essentially you're doing field exercises and CAX back to back. I mean, we'd be in the field for 2 months, a month, just doing a combined arms exercise through the Marine Corps, or with our battalion, getting ready for deployment. So I understand what you're saying. Like, your brain, when you come home, it never gets a chance to slow down.
Correct.
I mean, everything from going to a grocery store to driving. I mean, I'm sure Ty was the same way. When we first came back, driving in a vehicle was like horrible. Like, I mean, you felt like you were. I felt like I was in the turret. We're on a convoy everywhere we're going. So yeah, there's never, especially with you guys, there was never a real downtime to be able to let your brain relax and to get back into some normalcy. It's deployment, getting ready for deployment. That's the only 2 things that's going on.
Yeah, like some of these bases, some of these bigger bases, like Camp Fallujah or Camp Wolverine or Al Assad and all those places, like, we'd go there to refuel and kind of grab some stuff, pick up some more ammo or whatever. And we would see signs of like Burger King, Baskin Robbins, fucking Salsa Night and shit. And people had like civilian clothes, and there was like female Air Force airmen that were like sunbathing in like bathing suits and shit outside. And I was like, what the fuck is going on, man? I was like, we're out here kicking.
Al Assad was another world. I mean,
man, it was wild.
Definitely joined the wrong service.
Bro, no, Al Assad was, I mean, I remember because we would go through, we were at the Syrian border for a while too, and then Jordanian border. We were everywhere, but we'd go to KV, was kind of like your halfway point. So we would leave, stop in KV for the night. And then when we went to Al Assad, and I was like, they got a damn exchange. Like, people are eating Doritos and shit. Like, I was like, I'm gonna eat MREs for 6 months. Like, these dudes got a real chow hall and hot showers. I've been baby wiping my nuts for freaking 6 months.
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
You guys got running water, bro. This is crazy. Yeah, Al Assad was a trip. Had a berm around the whole. I mean, Al Assad had it. Like, I mean, you were like, I mean, you still took incoming, but it was kind of sporadic. But that berm around the whole thing, you felt like, Fallujah and Ramadi, you're kind of in like a valley. You're in a bowl. Like, yeah, it was a different world. So yeah, it's funny. I don't know if Ty, did you ever get to go to Al Assad?
You're muted, Ty.
You're muted.
Sorry, I spent some time out there at the battalion staff, and some cool stuff goes on out there. It's way out there in the middle of nowhere, and then you get there, and it's like there's a PX here. There's a guitar hero and drum hero, band hero, like lobby over here that people can go to. I'm like, man, freaking Air Force.
Yeah,
it's good times.
Yeah, not one MWR show, not one USO show, nothing. I mean, We didn't get to do any of that stuff, you know.
Well, you were at KV, bro. KV, I remember when we would go through, dude, there was like at the time, like back in 04, 05,
correct.
like there was a little phone area in KV where like you could use the phone and call your family, but there was like 6 phones. Like you never, I mean, there was like, I mean, and there was nothing in KV, bro. That shit was like a straight combat camp. There was no luxuries. KV was different.
When we first got to KV, we ended up holding security at the time, and those green top buildings that were built by the Koreans, that's where we stood post at the top of those buildings. That was the end of the, you know, the base. By the time we got done and came back from the rest of that deployment, they had a landing zone for helicopters. They pushed out the berm like probably, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 clicks out to where the inside of the KV, those buildings ended up being like COCs or like officer stuff. We were living in and out of those buildings. And then after that, you know, they had hooches set up, they had showers set up. They ended up building the chow hall. So, I mean, a lot of stuff got built in that time frame. And then when we went back, you know, it just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Shout out KBR. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it too, like at the time when you joined and you're in, right, you know, you were in back 6 months, deployed again, workups for a year. It's so early on in that at the time it was move, right? There was it would just, you know, and our point, we thought it was going to be over pretty quick. So the more we just hurry up and get it done, it'll be finished, you know. And so they didn't really take that into account, you know. So it's definitely difficult. So after second deployment, did a whole year workup, and then you went on your third deployment, right? And the third deployment is the one where your incident happened, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I was actually re-enlisted. I re-enlisted to go to the drill field, and I was getting ready to go to the drill field, and I found out I was already a squad leader, training with my squad for about 6 months, and I went and met up with the career planner. Ended up re-enlisting. Was signed up for the drill field, and then found out my guys were going on one more deployment. So I deferred my orders to go to the drill field after that deployment because I didn't want to step out as a squad leader and have somebody else step in and have something happen to the guys that I wouldn't be there. So I ended up deferring my orders, and I went on that deployment. We left January of 2007 on that pump, and then April 20th is when we got hit. And this time frame this year, we had a lot of sniper fire and a lot of suicide bombers that created most of the casualties from that deployment. And I mean, that one was rough, man. It was tough because we lost several guys to sniper fires and suicide bombings, and it was just, you know, a struggle to see the guys you were just hanging out with being wounded and injured, and then medevac'd out or putting in the body bags and getting zipped up and sent home. It's like we didn't have the time to process or mourn the guys that were gone, and you just had to keep going on in the mission, you know. And that ended up happening to us as well. 4 months into it, we ended up getting hit. The night before we got hit, there was 2 suicide attempts. One at the front gate at the forward operations base, and then the second one simultaneously hit an Iraqi police station that we had a squad of Marines there training and teaching the Iraqi police and the Iraqi army. So they got hit the same night, and we thought we were going to get hit that same night. We said, we're next. And they didn't hit us that night. They waited for the next morning to where they were allowed to open the highway and let traffic pass through. And sometime between, like, I guess 12 noon to like 1 o'clock is when we ended up getting hit by that bomb.
Yeah. So just real quick. So as you tell your story, just for your camera, if you could like just look like if you're back just a little bit, because when you're telling the story, I love the story, but like you're leaned in. So I just want to make sure we get into that all the way. But so if you don't mind, and if it's okay, I would if you're okay with it, can you kind of walk us through the day like the lead up to it, what happened, and then ultimately going into it after there, how it all kind of went after, you know?
Yeah. So, crazy story. My father ended up passing away March, I believe it was 18th of that same year, and I didn't find out because we didn't have the phones. I didn't find out until about April 12th or April 13th. And when I found out, called home, I got word from my mom that my father had passed, and he ended up going back to Mexico before I came home on that pre-deployment leave. Um, so I wasn't able to say or see him and say goodbye to him. So he ended up going back to Mexico and lived out the rest of his life there because they already had gave him the brain surgery, the chemotherapy, and that tumor that he had grew back um, within 6 months. And, they gave him 6 months to live after that. So my dad's side of the family wanted him to live out the rest of his days back at home where he grew up at. So they sent him back home. I talked to him on the phone once before I left, and he was still kind of out of it. You can tell he kind of repeat things once or twice, and just told me to, try to do my best, keep my head down, and then go visit him whenever I got back. And so when I found out about his death, I was kind of, real down about it. And I ended up telling one of my junior Marines what happened. And then he was the one that ended up telling the chain of command, because I didn't even bring it up to them. I just figured there was nothing really I could do. He already had been buried, and then he was buried in Mexico. So it's not like they had a Red Cross, message to get to me. So I ended up getting approached by the company commander, the first sergeant, and then the battalion commander, and they asked me what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, my father's already been buried for almost a month now. Just give me 7 days. Let me go to Camp Fallujah and use the phone center, maybe send some money home and figure out like what happened, and how the service went. And then I'd like to attend Catholic service mass. And at the time we had the chaplain, but we didn't have, Catholic services, and Camp Fallujah did. But I think it was like on Monday nights or Wednesdays or something like that. So then the BC had granted me the 7 days of leave to go back to Camp Fallujah. Well, when they put me in Camp Fallujah, they had the RBE, or the like the personnel, I guess, that takes care of all the logistics from Camp Fallujah. So we were on the outskirts. So when I got dropped off there, I lived in a hooch that was probably like 30 minutes uh, to get to the downtown area of that base. And you had to wait around for shuttle buses to come and pick you up. So the shuttle buses ran like every hour or something like that. So long story short, I ended up staying there for about a day and a half. And then I came back to my hooch one evening, and there was a sign on the door that said, go to the COC. And then I went back to the COC. They were like, hey, your command's calling you. Ended up getting a hold of the first sergeant. He's like, hey, we need you back. There's a lot of stuff going on over here. We can't give you the 7 days anymore. You have to come back. Weapons platoon's going to go out there. They're going to BZO a bunch of the machine guns, and then you're convoying back with them. And I was like, all right, roger that. I mean, I didn't get anything done. I didn't get a chance to do any of that stuff. I didn't go to mass. I didn't send any money home. I didn't do anything. So then they sent me back out, and they put me out on the bridge. And once I got to the bridge, everybody's like, dude, what are you doing here? And I was like, man, I have no idea. I don't know where my lieutenant's at. Haven't spoke to my platoon sergeant. They were tasked out doing something else. They weren't even at the fob when I got back. So they sent me back out to the bridge. I ended up linking up with some of my guys. The same junior Marine that was that told the chain of command about my father passing was on the bridge. And I told him to go back to the fob and take shower, call his family and stuff like that. And I told him I'll talk to him in a couple of days. And he was like, no, dude, I want to stay here. I was like, bro, just take off, And he was being adamant about staying. He's like, no, let me stay. I was like, dude, just get in the effing truck and I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Like, I wasn't in the mood, to talk and stuff like that. I just kind of wanted to get back into the mission and figure out what was going on. Well, that's that same night where we had both simultaneously. The suicide bombers attempted to blow up the fob and the Iraqi police station. So then that very next day, there was 8 of us on the bridge, so there was 4 guys on and 4 guys off, and we're doing 4 hours on, 4 hours off. I mean, we lived on that bridge, bro. So we showered, we ate, we went to the bathroom, all on that bridge, and we're all in just a little, small little overpass, fortified, with the weapons up there, just keeping eyes on the road. And the next morning, we get a call with 4 victors trying to enter friendly lines, and I figured they were switching up the chow routine, so then that way it would be set, off from the regular schedule, because we would usually get 1 hot meal a day, and usually it would come in the evening. But this time they were coming in, and I was like, well, they're probably bringing chow to us right now because of all the stuff that's going on. They want to switch up the time frames and not be complacent. Well, when they ended up coming up on board, up onto our station, it was the chaplain, and the chaplain called for me specifically. He's like, we're looking for, at the time I was a corporal still. He's like, we're looking for Corporal Morante. And I'm like, well, that's me. And he's like, yeah, I heard you had some loss in your family recently and that you wanted to go to a Catholic service mass. And since you couldn't go to attend one, I did you a solid and I brought you a Catholic priest. So the chaplain brought a priest with him, and we ended up having mass right there on the bridge. And it was funny because 4 of us were Catholics and then the other 4 were either Protestant. So we both had masses, and we just switched off post to watch each other's backs while the mass was going on for each gathering. And it wasn't as soon as they left that's the last thing I really remember, because everything else went blank after that. And I don't know how long I was out for, but when I first came to, before I opened my eyes and I could still have the ringing in my ears, and I didn't know how bad of a stage I was in, but in the back of my mind, I was like, fuck, man, we just got hit. And again, like, everything changed in the blink of an eye. I mean, I was hanging out with my Marine buddies. We were shooting this shit right after the chaplain had left. And then after that, I was just completely covered in debris. So when I woke up, I had this piece of concrete cinder block from the bridge that ended up landed on my face and on my body. So I pushed it up with my right hand when I opened my eyes, and then I pushed it up as far as I could, and then sat up a little bit, and then kind of followed the concrete block down until I finally pushed it over, and it ended up falling on the other side and threw up a big puff of sand. And I was in a completely different spot, man. I had my Kevlar on, my flak, my medical kit, my rifle was in front of me. All that stuff was gone. I woke up. My left hand was twisted in a way where I couldn't move it. I sat up and I was spitting up blood and, just grit, dirt. And I could hear my guys screaming. And in the back of my mind, I was still thinking tactically, how could I get them to stay quiet without exposing myself? Because I was worried about secondary fire. So I sat up and I noticed my leg, my boot was back over here by my hip, was basically like in a weird L shape. And I was pumping blood out of my, pretty much out of my femur area. And I literally just grabbed with my right hand, I grabbed my thigh and I squeezed it. I looked up at the sky and I was like, God, this is on you. And I ended up closing my eyes. And I saw one of the Marines running down from the debris, coming up the bridge, following the debris down. And when I noticed who it was, I knew it was one of my guys from my company, but not my squad. So I knew QRF was already there to take us out. And that's when I looked up at the sky and I was like, all right, God, this is on you. And I closed my eyes and kind of went through blank stages for the next couple of days. That was a Friday we got hit on. And I remember waking up completely, which was Sunday in Landstuhl, Germany, but had frames between Friday and Sunday from when I got shipped to Balad or Baghdad. They already had to amputate my leg. I was already cut. They took my leg and had my arm in a splint. And one of the guys that ended up saving our lives from the bridge was pushing me in the wheelchair. And I ran into another Marine that was at the IP station that had gotten hit the night before. And he had to take a double take on me when he saw me, because I recognized him, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, Hitch?" And he looked at me and was like, "What the hell?" And then he looked at me again. He's like, "Morante, is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he saw the situation, the status that I was in. He was like, "Dude, what the hell happened?" And I was like, "Bro, we got hit really bad." And he's like, "Fuck, man, what happened?" I was like, "I have no idea." I said, "I have no idea at the time." And then I blacked out. And then another time I woke back up and I was in the hospital. And this is kind of eerie to me still. I was looking at an Iraqi that was in the hospital. I don't know if it was Balad or Baghdad, but there was a woman next to him. She was wearing all black. She had like an older looking face, and they were right across from me. And I was screaming in agonizing pain at this time. And I had a curtain on my right hand side over here, in the bed that I was at. So I'm screaming and I'm looking right at him, and all of a sudden the curtain opens up, and I look up and I see a white collar, and I see hands, and I see a book. And then I hear a voice, and his voice was like, "Repeat after me." And he started reciting Our Father. So as he was reciting it, I was screaming it, and I was looking straight at that Iraqi, right across from him, and I was yelling almost at him. And I was in so much pain. And then all of a sudden, this woman that was comforting him, that was next to him, ended up walking or waltzing her way over to where I was at, but I didn't see her feet. Like, you couldn't see the movement of her legs. It's kind of like she almost like floated over to where I was at, and it was weird. So I knew by the third time that I had been there that any woman that dresses in black, she's been married or belongs to somebody, and she's not allowed to touch any other male besides her husband and her children. Um, so she put her hand on my head to comfort me, and I went completely silent because I at the time I didn't know if that was real or not. I thought it was death coming to take me away, since I just had the preacher or the father on this right side reciting the Our Father, and then, like I said, she just kind of moseyed on over to where I was at and put her hand on my head, and that's against their religion. So I was in complete shock, and from there I blanked out again, and I woke up, Landstuhl, Germany, in agonizing pain still. And as soon as I woke up there, I wanted to get eyes on my guys. So Doc Thompson, which is our corpsman, is still in a vegetated state as of today, and we're talking 19 years later. He was in ICU. Little Mendez was on the second floor. Big Mendez was like on the third floor. I had May and Volk and one of the other guys on the different floors, and the Marine liaison team that was there asked me, what I wanted to get done. I said, well, I'd like to have all my guys in the same room if possible. So they brought everybody else besides Doc. Doc had to stay in the ICU. They put him in a induced coma at the time. And we sat in the same room, and, little Mendez was missing his arm. Both his legs were demolished. May had a broken back. Volk had punctured kidney, punctured lungs. Big Mendez was injured as well. He had hurt his arm, and then they ended up amputating his leg, I think about a year later, below the knee. So we had several amputations. But I mean, to survive 3,000 pounds of explosives 15 feet away, it had to have been, an act of God. It was straight miracle. I don't know how, I'm telling this story now. And again, I'm blessed to live every day I wake up. It's just another blessing that I don't take for granted, and just kind of excited to still be here. So that happened. And then we spent a week in Landstuhl. They ended up having to rewire my jaw because my jaw was shattered. And they ended up taking me in an emergency room in Landstuhl, and they put these arch bar braces to where the next 6 weeks I had to eat everything out of a straw or a spoon. And then they sent me to Bethesda Naval Hospital. I was there for 3 months, and it was just surgery after surgery. We got visitors all the time, to the point where it almost frustrated me. I had just gotten out of surgery one time, and I remember there was a pageant member that came to it, and she was like trying to meet, the warriors and go and visit the wounded guys. And I had just gotten out of surgery, and I was like, man, I'm really not in the mood. I really don't want to see anybody. And she's like, well, she really would like to meet you. And the nurses were adamant about, convincing me to change my mind. And I was like, I don't give a fuck who she is. Like, get her the fuck out of here. I was leaking from my leg, man. I had, drainage. I had an open gash. They had a vacuum, suction on me. My left wrist was in pain. I didn't get any sleep at all. I mean, it was just brutal. My face, I looked completely like a train wreck, man. It was bad. I mean, I had broken jaw, broken teeth, shattered cheekbones, scratched cornea, a left wrist fracture, a closed skull fracture, the amputation above the knee. Not to mention the back problems that, at the time I wasn't feeling because everything else was just so intense. But that came on later. And then after the 3 months of being there, they gave me the option because Bethesda Naval Hospital was getting full, and so was Walter Reed. They had so many patients coming in back as amputees that they ended up opening the Center for the Intrepid here in San Antonio, Texas. And they're like, hey, you either have the option to go to Walter Reed and see if they have room for you, or you can go down to Texas because that's where you got recruited out of, and go to this place called the CFI. And I was like, man, bring me back home to Texas. So after the 3 months of being at Bethesda Naval Hospital, I got over here to Fort Sam Houston and ended up staying at Fort Sam until I was medically retired in 2010.
So did you ever get like briefed through what actually happened? I mean, like you said, like 1 minute you're talking, the next minute you're waking up. Did they ever walk you guys through like how it transpired, what happened? Did you ever get any of that?
Not from
clarity?
the command or like the leadership portion of it. I ended up getting a hold of some of the guys that finished off that deployment, and we ended up meeting them at Victory Field in 29 Palms in September whenever they were set to come back. So that's kind of like where I got most of the puzzling, put back together of what actually occurred. And, it was a long process, man. I don't even remember getting put on a helicopter ride, but they put me on a couple of gurneys and stretchers, and they transferred us over from the bridge over to the FOB, which was 800 meters away from us. And they put us on helos and then flew out from there. And so what ended up happening is that once we opened up the gates to allow the traffic to come underneath us, the suicide bomber was in between the civilian vehicles there. And, he had a dump truck filled with 3,000 pounds of explosives is what they estimated, to do that type of damage to the concrete, highway overpass. We say bridge, but it was really a highway overpass. It was a big explosion to where the FOB, we called it FOB Riviera because it was a 5-story hotel building. So that place got rocked. All the windows got shattered. Some of the people that were inside of that building got concussed. So you could just imagine the mushroom cloud, after seeing the pictures, was probably about a mile up into the air. And
Wow.
they didn't think any survivors were left on that bridge. The guy that was pushing me in that wheelchair that I spoke of earlier, he ended up finding a cluster. I don't know how he found it because, we had all our stations set up, our bathroom, our chow area, our sleeping area, all our ammo in one area, the little COC and the radios that we had were all in another area. All of that was completely gone. He found a star cluster and ended up popping it. And as soon as he popped it, went up in the air, he passed out and fell. And that was the only sign of life that we were able to give off to let the rest of the company know there were still people down there alive. And the QRF came shortly after that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was literally insane. I mean, I'm working on writing a book about it now, but it could totally become a movie, kind of like Lone Survivor or American Sniper, in that type of aspect, because it was just, I mean, you can't explain how we survived. You cannot explain it.
I mean, I have a theory, and it's just a small theory, but you just explained to everybody. I mean, moments before this happens, you got to have your Catholic mass. Your other brothers got to have their church service. You got
Right.
to, celebrate the Lord, and you got to go to church. And then right after that, this happens. I mean, like at the end of the day, horrible stuff happens all the time. But why are you still here? I mean,
an act of
there's
God.
no other reason. You said it, right? You know, by the grace of God, right? And
For
it's just
sure.
ironic that like right before that's what you guys were doing. You got to have mass now, and go through that, and also from what you know, majority of your guys, injured as they were all in the room with you except for the doc, right? Like at the end of the day, all the people that just went to church, you know
Yep.
what I mean? So
Yep.
I mean that's a pretty powerful thing, man.
Oh, for sure. And I'm a
Yeah.
big believer in that, man. Big believer in that 100%. So again, I'm in the process of kind of putting all the dots together and writing the book, you know, from both first, second, third deployments, you know, prior to and then aftermath.
Yeah. So how long was your process going from you know, Bethesda over there to San Antonio? How much total time before you were medically retired did you go through your rehab before they were,
Dude,
you know?
I was enlisted for 3.5 years, right? When I went on that third deployment. This was in 2007. They retired me December 2010. So it took another 3.5 years for them to say, hey, this is about as close as we can get you to 100% back to normal. And this is all we could do. So we're going to go ahead and medically retire you. And from here on out, you'll be attending the VA and, you know, living your civilian life again. But it became a struggle after a while. You know, initially it was soothing and it was joyful to be breathing oxygen still, but the struggles didn't come in until I finally got out into town. When I was on base, you know, everybody has that, you know, that brother and sister mentality where, you know, the hey soldier, how you doing, or hey Marine, how's it going? You know, you're still on base, but then once you get out into the civilian world and all of a sudden you're missing, you know, pieces of your body, and people take notice to that. You know, you get the stares, you get the, you know, the kids that'll comment, you know, here and there. And at the time, it bothered me a lot. It did, because I was 22 as a squad leader, 3 deployments, you know, just barely getting into my career, and then all of a sudden everything else is just completely changed. And what used to be easy to pulling up to a restaurant and then stepping up on the curb and opening the door became a struggle, because now I had to go get my wheelchair out of the vehicle, get it set up, put the tires on it, have somebody set that up for me, sit on the wheelchair, and then go around to like the ramping area, and then coming back towards the front door, and then having somebody open the door for you. You know, all those things are just like little jab wounds that just kind of hit you right in the heart.
Mhm.
So it definitely demoralizes you. It makes you feel less of a person.
Yeah.
And that happened, like I said, and once that started to happen, then the depression kind of sank in, and that downhill spiral, the medication, the drinking, all that stuff kind of takes an effect on your body, and not in a great way. You know, most of the guys that we're losing to suicides have been on some type of antidepressant or antidepressant medication, and are still continuing to do the alcohol. Well, when you drink alcohol, you know, your perception of stuff is very impulsive. You think something could be just as quick as easy to get behind the wheel. Oh, I can make it home, or I can do this. But when you're mixing the medications on top of that, it intensifies it even worse, especially when the side effects are suicidal thoughts. Well, if you're having suicidal thoughts while you're on antidepressants and you're still drinking alcohol impulsively, a lot of times guys pull the trigger while they're under the influence of both.
Yeah, man. That's heavy.
Yeah,
Man.
so I did that for about 8 months, and then my son came to existence, being born, and that's what ended up changing my mindset, recreated that spark back in me, to where I was like, look, man, you know, you're getting in a lot of messy situations back to back, and this is not who you were brought up to be. This is not how you were trained to be. You need to get your shit back together. And I went to culinary school afterwards, ended up doing 3.5 years of culinary school, and here in San Antonio, Texas. I ended up opening up a catering company, had a little food trailer for a while, was doing good doing that. And then again, I wanted to get back into boxing, man. Like boxing was my go-to, was my therapy. So once I started training on a prosthetic, I was like, man, maybe I could do this. Like I felt great getting back into a sweaty
Yeah.
boxing gym and just beating on the bag and just standing there, being able to move around, trying to find my new balance. And I got to the point where I was like, man, I think I can actually train to fight again. And I was sparring with guys that were having tournaments and smoker tournaments and golden glove tournaments. And I was sparring with these guys at the gym, and I was lasting 3, 4, 5 rounds with them. And I was like, dude, I could totally freaking take this guy down. I can, and we were fighting. When you spar, you spar 1 or 2 rounds with one person, and then that guy gets out, and then you get a fresh guy, and then you spar with him a couple of rounds, and then they switch you out and they bring somebody else, and so it's a constant switch up. And I was still hanging and banging with those dudes, so I was like, dude, I think I could still do this. And then I started joining up a couple other gyms and tried to get a couple of fights, see if I could get a fight here, get a fight there, and everywhere that I went, they're like, dude, there's no way that the commission's going to let you fight on an actual card. Or a sanctioned match. So I was like, all right, man, this sucks. I ended up getting a prosthetic done there at the Center for the Intrepid. That was the first prototype of a boxing leg, which is basically the running leg, the one that has the curve to it. But they ended up putting like a heel and a sole to the back of it, because the problems that I was running into is that part of that prosthetic leg that hits the ground is only about this big. So it basically hits the ground and it springs you back up in order for you to take another step with your other leg. But moving backwards, you have no heel, no sole. So I'd catch a jab, and if I moved back and my foot was not placed properly, I would end up falling down off of a jab. Just because from off balance. So they ended up creating that sole and that heel to it, to where I knew whether I was on the back side of my prosthetic or on the front side of the prosthetic, and it helped out a lot more when it came to my balance. So then I started using that leg to train, and once they told me that I wasn't going to be able to compete, I ended up putting that leg in the closet, and it stayed there for 8, 9 months. And I kind of started to fall into that depression again, where it's like, man, like, why am I going to put so much work in if I can't even, showcase what I can do? And
so I got a quick question before you go into that. The prosthetic, I heard you saying, like, when you first got back, just being able to dive in, pull into a parking lot, get out, go into a restaurant, step up on a curb, you had to go around the ramp, you were in a wheelchair for a bit. At what point did you start like working to be able to use a prosthetic, and how long was that process for you to get used to doing that? Right, because it's learning to walk again, basically, right? But how long before you were kind of comfortable in it, where you could kind of get around okay and kind of move through? Like, what was that process like? Because like you said, the one that you got for boxing was one they made, right? So if you were like on the first round of people getting those prosthetics down in San Antonio, like, did you have to wait a while for that to happen, or what kind of was that process?
Yeah, so the healing from amputation to the time that I first put my first prosthetic leg on was 3 months. And it hurt, bro. I mean, it hurt like drastically. I mean, you're not supposed to be walking on your femur. You're not supposed to normally walk on in a prosthetic. So it hurt, man. I mean, it was super tender, very sensitive. I had to wear shrinkers all the time. So it was 3 months to where I could finally take my first couple of steps. And I would take like 3 or 4 steps, and then I have to sit down on the wheelchair and take the weight off. And then I'd get back up and then walk a little bit more. And it pushed me. My mission was to walk out to the field at Victory Field when the guys came back, so that way they knew that I was okay. I didn't want them to see me wheeling up, to the Victory Field. So I had a goal in my head to be up and walking in 3 months, because that's when the guys were coming back in September. And then after that, it was just one thing led to the next. It was like, hey, we're doing hand cycling. We've got wheelchair volleyball or wheelchair basketball. They're doing, swim qualifications, mini triathlons there at the Center for the Intrepid and at Fort Sam. So there was all these warrior games and all this whole other field of, Paralympic sports that kind of opened up, that I was never, really knew about. And once I started learning about prosthetics and how they work, and different Microsoft chip processors, the running legs, the mechanical legs, it was at one point in time, I had about 8 different prosthetics. And then they came out with the one that I'm wearing now, which is made from Autobot, and it's got a Microsoft chip processor in it to where the battery charge lasts 3 days on it. You can completely submerge it in water, and it's water resistant. You can actually run on this leg without having to switch anything on it. So if like a kid ended up drowning in the pool or was, about to drown, I could literally run into the pool or jump in with the leg on without having to take it off, and be able to save that child or get somebody off of the road from incoming traffic or something like that. So since I've gotten that leg, like I said, I was able to do a lot more with that leg. So I ended up donating a couple of my legs to people with less fortune that I wasn't utilizing anymore. And then now I'm down to 3. I use my running leg, my boxing leg, and my everyday walking leg.
There you go. So
yeah, but that took about a year, bro. It took about a year to finally get everything up and moving like my new normal. It was about a year after.
Yeah, man. And so you said,
Matt, hold on 1 second, Matt. Before you go any further, I want to let you know Eric on TikTok, Indubitably 100, who says it's Lee Otis, says he knows you. Big shout out from back in the day.
Lee.
There you go.
That's what's up, Lee. Thanks for tuning in, bro.
Yeah, appreciate y'all watching over on TikTok. This is an amazing story, Eric. I know I've not said much, but this is an amazing story of resilience, man. You should write a screenplay and get this into a movie. This
for sure.
This is a movie of faith, patriotism, resilience. Like the resilience you're showing should be the blueprint for
sure.
Soldiers. Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to get a hold of Sylvester Stallone, see if we can come up with something together to where we can have him produce or direct the movie concept or the book concept that I'm coming about, because it literally has that same type of inspirational story, but more on the military side of it, which again, I hit so many different demographics, from the disability side, the military side, the health and fitness side. So I think this story needs to be told and it needs to be reached out like worldwide, nationwide. And that's what Legacy, with the podcast with Stack, that is, I told you guys about, that I was trying to push and promote out a little bit. They did a 6-series podcast. It's all audio and it's on Spotify, but you can follow my page and it's literally just Eric_Morante, Morante. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and I don't have a TikTok yet, but we're working to see what we can come up with in the next couple of months to get that stuff going. But I would totally like to get that story out there, and I would like to do one more fight if possible, before I get too vintage, and be able to show again,
there
like
you go.
What we can do with the prosthetic. And how much the technology is just drastically changed. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not wearing a peg leg or anything like that, and I'm not on a pirate ship, but these freaking legs, they do some amazing work, Ron. Again, I wouldn't have been able to do.
Or is this an earlier one?
That's the prototype. That's the prototype, the one that I was telling you about that was created there at the Center for the Intrepid. That's the one that has the heel on it. And my buddy there in the background, Joey's got the same one, but his is backwards because he's a southpaw fighter. So they put that spring as his lead leg. I use mine behind me as my rear leg.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but they've created that leg plus like 6 or 7 other ones on top of that that's out there right now that people are using for athleticism.
Man, that's crazy, dude. That is it's inspirational to see your story and just going, you put it in the closet and you're like, oh, it's never going to happen. And just something in you's like, what the fuck, man? Like, are you serious? Let's go. Like, you just continue to get out there, man, and push the envelope.
Yeah, it was 5 years later, man. After I put that thing in the closet, I spent the next 5 years training for the first official, sanctioned amputee fight. Was that photo that you guys just showed? Yeah. And that was back in September of like 2012, 2013.
So I'm curious, how did you find that? I mean, you said you started learning all about, Paralympics and para sports and different things they're doing. Did somebody tell you about that organization? How did you stumble upon it? Was it something
Yeah,
that you were like, you just found it, or someone was like, you should look into this? What were you?
dude, I was literally getting ready to move back to Houston because I was in a relationship here in San Antonio at the time, purchased a house together and everything like that, and ended up splitting. And it was just like, dude, like, what am I still doing, hanging around here? Like, all my family's back home. Um, I think I should just pick up and head back to Houston. And my caseworker from the Center for the Intrepid, this is, we're talking 2-3 years after I already gotten out. She ends up reaching out to me and she's like, hey, did you hear about this new organization that just, is getting ready to get started where they're allowing amputees to fight? And I was like, man, I've heard that all the time. They say that they're going to do this. They say they're going to do that, but it's never been an actual deal. So I said, no, I haven't heard from them, or heard about them. And she was like, you should give them a call. So she gave me the phone number. I ended up contacting them. At the time, I was training in San Antonio at Jesse James Leja's gym, which is a world champion fighter here out of San Antonio. I was training at his gym, and I was literally getting ready to pick up and move back to Houston. I called them, and the guy was a former Air Force. He was an airman, and he was a physical trainer, and he had gotten with another guy that was an amputee that wanted to get back in the ring. So he ended up creating, both of them ended up opening up the foundation, which was called NABA, which is National Amputee Boxing Association. And I was the third guy to get recruited into the club. And I was the first Marine in the group. So then when that fight came out, I ended up becoming the first Marine to be sanctioned to fight in an amateur bout here in Texas. But it took so much time to get the paperwork, everything together, the insurance, the fundraising, the money. I mean, it was a lot, bro, but they put in the time, and we ended up getting the 501c3, and it ended up going for about 5 years. So I was avidly fighting and training year round to compete for the national amputee. And we were getting amputees that were coming in from Pennsylvania, Oklahoma. Some of them were civilian, some of them were military, Florida, Louisiana, Dallas. I mean, we had guys coming in from, we had a girl come in from Italy. I was supposed to fight a guy from the UK that already had established a championship belt in the UK because they were already doing amputee fights. And I was kind of like, well, why does the USA not have one if we're always the first to do everything? So so we kind of collaborated a lot, started getting, fighters coming in from all over the place, but that cost a lot of money to fly everybody in. And we had several matches at Cowboys Dance Hall in San Antonio, Morgan's Wonderland, Rondazzo's boxing gym. We were fighting here in San Antonio. We were bringing in people from out of state and out of the country to come fight here because they got the Texas licensing, done through that. And then again, tried to get into the Paralympics, but that's a whole nother world, man. We ended up checking a lot of boxes to get to that point, and it got shut down,
I mean, that's unfortunate that happens, right? Because at the end of the day, obviously, if you guys are all out here, the UK's doing it, and you guys are actually doing it, the ability is still there. You're not saying that, it has to be like everything else, but at the end of the day, you guys are showing it can be done. What I will tell you is I think if you guys keep just pressing and do what Marines do anyway, is never take no for a freaking answer. It's still going to fucking happen. You're going to find out. At some point, someone's going to be able to do it, man. And
we literally opened up the floodgates.
We did it,
Yeah, we kicked down the doors and opened up that window. Now that door is open, and that now I'm hearing more of amputees allowed to compete in, amateur boxing. They're fighting able-bodied fighters now, which was one of the things I wanted to do. And then again, Paralympics, it's going to happen, but it's probably going to be for the next generation. And I don't mind coaching or standing in the corner, helping out the next generation get to their spot too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Mentorship at its finest, right? Trailblazers for doing certain things, to be someone that will be around it. It's a journey that you're on now. It's
right now, I work with Texas Parasports out of Texas here in San Antonio, and I train out of Randazzo's boxing gym. So we train veterans, children with disabilities, and warriors that are going in the transition. So I'm actually the boxing coach at the at Rondazzo's Boxing Gym. We do free classes for everybody that has a disability. I've got blind fighters. I've got fighters in wheelchairs. I've got fighters that are missing limbs. I've got other fighters that have cancers, leukemias. People with cerebral palsy, somebody with Parkinson's syndrome, and they all come in, man, and we all do a workout class together, every Wednesday. And that's been going on for about 1.5 years now.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that, man. That is amazing. But we do still have to, even though you've been through a lot of hot shit and you've done a lot of stuff that's been very difficult to do. You can see Ty has sunglasses on. He changed the screen. So now he's going to attempt to put you out of your comfort zone. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he's going to try. And me and Alex right back.
Sound good?
All right. I appreciate you coming on. This story's been amazing. I thank you so much for sharing. But what we do in the hot seat is I'm going to ask you about 10 questions, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Just changes it up a little bit. Your story's been amazing. I don't think I can shake you at all. So here we go. First question in the hot seat. Pre-mission checklist. What kind of music were you listening to that was old when you came back that time?
What kind of music was old when I came back? So that one of the songs that was old when I came back was, shit, man, this is probably like Notorious B.I.G., Big Papa, the Chocolate Factory Gang, all that stuff with P. Diddy, Mace, and all the Little Kim. That was one of the songs. Like Big Papa was one that I can recall right off the top of my head.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck in a late 1990s, mid 2000s kind of.
The 1900s.
Yeah. I'm way back. I'm from the 70s, so I'm still in the 1900s in my playlist. But what's the most unique place on earth you've ever visited?
The most unique place that I've ever visited, I would definitely have to say Puerto Rico. Out of all the places that I've been to, I think I've had the most exciting time, the most relaxing time, and the most beautiful scenery was in PR.
Beautiful answer. All right, you've got 1 hour to have one conversation with one person from your life. Who would it be? What would you talk about?
Oh, definitely my father, man. I'd have so many questions for him. Even though I was the closest one to my dad, there was still a lot of separation, between both of us. Again, because I was living in 29 Palms, and he was still back here in Houston at the time. But I would definitely love to get some closure and kind of ask some questions that at the time of me being that young and naive, I didn't have the guts to ask him. But I definitely would love to have that hour back and just put everything out on the table.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't think I've ever answered this question, but I think I would talk to my mother. My mother passed away in 2007, and she didn't get to see a lot of her grandchildren and now great grandchildren. So yeah, parents are always big in the family. And from your story, you can glean that you had a pretty tight family. And being a man of faith, I appreciate that very much. I think I know the answer to this next question, but what's the biggest military habit that you developed that you've carried over to now?
Man, that's a tough one. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, man, just being a patriot, man, and kind of leading by example is where I see most of the action that I say I could take that, kind of gives that example. It's just leading by example, trying to do the right thing, at all times. And then just enjoy the little things, man. Enjoy life, enjoy all the little pleasures, waking up in the morning, taking that first sip of coffee, sitting down around the table and just enjoying breaking bread with, your family,
Yeah, I absolutely love that. All right, this is for any weight class ever across boxing. Give me your Mount Rushmore of boxing.
Mount Rushmore boxing: Muhammad Ali, Felix Trinidad, Julio Cesar Chavez, and I would say Oscar De La Hoya.
De La Hoya. Love it. He's gotten into promotion, and I think his career, as prolific as it was as a boxer, he's just as prolific as a promoter now.
Yeah, man, he's on the scene still.
Yeah. So do me a favor and just talk a little bit about the VFW Post 8790 and kind of what that's done for you, and then the upcoming event where you're going to be involved with the gala. Wax poetic about that for me, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so that VFW, that building has been up and running since I was a kid, man. I remember being there, like I said, as a child, going to an event there that somebody rented out the hall, and I thought it was such a cool place that I didn't think I was ever going to be able to step inside of that building. And then pushing forward, years and years later, still being from the same community, same neighborhood, the guys and gals that I went to high school with are now like in those leadership positions there. And that VFW has changed drastically, man. They've done so many upgrades to that place, and it's in a good spot, but I enjoy going there and hanging out there. It's like, it's not a VFW to where, it's just got that old gray gloomy type of like feel to it, and it's just a bunch of veterans that have been overseas and it's just there to drink have cheap drinks and kind of like tell their stories. It's more than that, man. These guys have taken that VFW and opened it out to the community. They're always at ball games, they're sponsoring kids, taking kids to baseball games. They're always having events, steak nights, raffles. I mean, they give so much stuff back, and I really enjoy going to that place a lot, man. And I didn't think I was gonna ever become like a member of that place. I didn't think I was qualified for it, but now that I am, dude, I'm so proud of the guys that have just taken that decision to go ahead and just be part of the community and just keep it going.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much. All right.
Yeah, and the gala is going to be great too. So that's going to be on September 19th, which is a Saturday. I've been to several events there in the past. I'm fortunate enough to come back and be able to do their gala this year, which is going to be a great time. Like I said, I'll be there, so definitely do a meet and greet, hang out. My family's all going to be there because they live literally within 3-5 mile range from the place, so we're definitely going to have the place packed. And it's going to be great to see all the faces and everybody else that I kind of grew up with, and all the guys that ended up joining afterwards. That, like I said, even after I got injured, there was a big community that was praying for me to recover. All my friends from high school and my teachers. I mean, my mom worked in the school district, so when that happened, it blew a big wave factor there in the school district to where, like I said, it's just coming home and being honored and welcomed in the proper way, not like the Vietnam vets, just makes that much of a difference, bro.
Yeah, I love that story. So, hey, we've got the, website for 8790 right here on the screen right now. If you look up in the top left corner of your screen, you'll see a QR code that will take you directly to the Zeffy website to get your tickets, be a donor for, and contribute to the VFW Post 8790 2026 Boots and Heroes Gala. Appreciate that very much. With the shout out for them. All right, here's the one everybody talk. Oh, let me put you full. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I thought you were showing us something there. So, last question, and this is much contentious here on the show. Who's the greatest of all time, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Prince.
Okay, just hands down. You answered quick. Why?
Yeah, man, Prince. I don't know. It's just the talent that he has playing so many different instruments, the different demographics that he reached. His songs are pretty badass. I mean, Michael Jackson's up there too, but I just think that talent-wise, that Prince got him beat.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. Here we go. As you can see, it's starting to get a little bit better, but Prince has pulled ahead 61 to 49 in our 161st episode Man, I appreciate your story. All right, I got one last question for you. If you can remember back to this, tell me exactly what you were thinking when this picture was taken.
I'm so glad that I became the winner of that match. You know, and Joey's a buddy of mine, man. He's a good friend of mine. It sucked to have to face my best friend at the time. We were going to therapy and everything. So it's like, you know, we have to put our stuff aside during that 15-minute fight. But it was Army versus Marine, bro, and I had to show up. You know what I mean? I couldn't let that happen.
You're muted, buddy.
Oh, I muted myself. I'm going to bring the guys in for this last one here. What can we do to make our show better?
Well, everybody likes to see action, right? So I would say, I don't know. I would say put it in a couple of maybe like some firefights or something in between conversations and stuff like that. Get a little action, get some guns going, some 240s, some Mark 19s, maybe a little.
We're just going to put Al in his backyard. He lives in Florida. They don't give a shit about the environment.
I don't know if it's wrong, if I should say this right now, but my dick is super hard right now. Just want to throw it out there.
I think we might have to incorporate a break every quarter, every quarter hour, and it'll be
go shoot some guns in between.
It'll just be a 15 seconds for Eric Morante.
We're talking 240, some big. I'm hard right now, sweaty hard.
Oh yeah,
man.
Eric, I do appreciate you doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have the website on the screen here, and please hit this QR code up and go to the VFW Post 8790 Boots and Heroes Gala 2026. All right, go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just going to say, out of everything that we've talked to you about today, you're an extremely inspirational person. I'm so glad that you're trying to help so many people realize that they can still do the things that they love, right? Or they can do something new, or they can try something hard. But one thing that we didn't really get to talk about today that I would love to hear about how it is going for you, how you do it, or how much you enjoy doing, or what it means to you is your public speaking. Because you did allude earlier that you do public speaking on top of everything else that you do. Talk to us a little bit about how did you get into public speaking? What made you want to go into that route? And what does it mean for you or the people that you get to talk to?
Yeah, so I ended up doing a couple of events with a great organization called Semper Fi Fund, America's Fund. And they ended up taking us to New York to do the Tunnel of the Towers run after being wounded. So I ended up meeting a bunch of firefighters that were there on 9/11, a lot of police officers that were there on 9/11. I got to hanging out with them. They invited me out to a golf tournament and a shotgun skeet tournament out in New York. So when I went to those, they asked me to say a couple of words, if I wouldn't mind saying a couple of words. And I got on that podium, and again, public speaking is one of the most feared things to do, is to stand up in front of a crowd and speak. But in the Marine Corps, we did that all the time, just kind of briefing our guys and running classes. So it became kind of like second nature. I got up there and I told my story, and when I walked off, everybody stood up and started clapping, and I had a standing ovation. And I was like, man, I really didn't feel like I said anything too crazy. But just the story itself, and how God put us here still, and able to tell that story to the public, it really puts a connection to the civilian side of it, as what we go through, or what some go through in order to keep that freedom. And that's just one of the things that I like to speak upon. And again, just to give that motivation to see how far I've been able to push myself, that there's no excuse for anybody else not to do when they're, completely able. They just have to believe in themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you told your story, and you were okay with telling your story. And a lot of times when people hear that, it's weird for everybody to clap, and you're like, I just basically just told you a little bit about me. But people appreciate the story, because everything that you're doing now, right? Like it would have been so easy to be like, fuck it, right? Like, I mean, what else? What am I going to do now? What was like all of that stuff? But the
Correct.
fact that you're doing what you're doing right now, that right there is what makes people proud to see our veterans, what makes them proud to see them doing all the hard things when they come back. And it's the things that we should be celebrating. Is it's just the we're resilient, we're going to get it done. It doesn't matter what the obstacle is, we're going to overcome it. And we need to celebrate that stuff more. And I think that's why you saw in the first time you were like, dang, for real, standing ovation.
Yeah,
it's just the
definitely.
appreciation for who you are and what you're doing, brother. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think the other part to that too, Matt, is Eric's story is a testament to all veterans, because there's a lot of veterans out there that live in their depression, or live in their bullshit, and they have excuses for everything. Like they don't want to get involved, and there's woe is me, and I can't do it, and my life sucks. You've got to get out of that mind state, and you got to be able to say, look, Eric, if Eric can do it on one fucking leg, one good leg,
correct.
Stop making excuses.
Yeah.
Be a part of something. Get out there and get involved.
Get it.
For sure.
100%, man.
Don't make.
Oh yeah, dude.
If you want to do something great, then go do something great. Find, like we talk about all the time, find your tribe. Find something that motivates you. Find something you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be boxing. It doesn't have to be whatever. It could be anything, right? Just get involved and make a difference. Make an impact. Find your mission again. Find something that you can be motivated and proud of again, right? Stop just making an excuse that woe is me and I can't do it, and it's too hard, or it's too difficult, or no one's going to help me do it. Like fuck them. Go out and do it yourself, right? Find your tribe, get involved, get connected to the community, and make a difference. Do something that find your passion again. We lose too many veterans to suicide. We lose too many veterans to drugs and alcohol addiction and all these other things. Get off your ass, get off your couch, and go find something that you're passionate about. Get involved.
Most definitely.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, Eric, is there anybody, I know we've talked about the gala and we've talked about your story and a lot of things. Is there anybody that you would like to recognize? Anybody want to shout out? Are there things you're doing that people can support you in to help everything that you're doing to help at the gym and all of these initiatives you're doing? Just like let people know how they can connect with you, how they can help you.
Yeah,
do you have anything coming up? Like, what do you got going on?
Like I said, my Instagram is Eric_Morante. My Facebook page is Eric Morante. I don't have any crazy things, no crazy names or nothing like that. Look me up, and I've got so many resources. I've got so many different organizations that, again, help out veterans, help out people that are with disabilities, and just kind of be intact with the community and go try something new. And one of the things that did change my life was the SUDS program, which is the Soldiers Undertaking Disabled Sports. A buddy of mine, John Thompson, runs that program, and he takes veterans on scuba diving trips, gets you completely certified. They do whitewater rafting, biking, rock climbing. I mean, you go to all these beautiful places around the world and completely free of charge to the veteran. And he trains you to go and dive. And I after I lost my leg, that was one of the things that I always had as a bucket list to do. And I never thought I was going to be able to do it. And he was able to get me certified and get several other guys certified to go on a scuba diving trip. And one of the coolest things that I've ever did was a night dive in Hawaii with the manta rays, feeding, watching them eat, and, literally doing somersaults right in front of you, like 40 feet underwater, in complete darkness. Which was crazy. And I never thought I'd be able to do something like that. And just for him to open up the invite and have me go out there and train me for that, I mean, it's more of like my therapy sessions. I get more out of the one dive or two dives that I do per day with that 3-day program that I can do at the VA hospital inside, an office on a one-on-one or a group session with the mental health. This has been my niche, man. And I've done everything from motorcycle rides to hand cycling, marathons, running a full triathlon, scuba diving has been my go-to. And like I said, SUDS is a program. If you guys are out there, please look them up. Again, if anybody wants to help out with Texas Parasports and the boxing program, reach out to my social medias and I will put you in the right contacts with people where we can get that program continued and going.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you very much, man. I will say for me, I know that the guys have their things that they'll say to our guests as well, but thank you for coming on. Thank you for telling your story. And above all, thank you for sharing with everybody your journey, because it's just important to know that those stories of success and overcoming adversity are out there, man. Like Al said, right? Get out of your own shit and just go make it happen. You had so many times that you could have quit, right? You know, so many times you could have been like, fuck it, it's not going to happen. But you're still killing it and doing your thing, man. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everything that you've done for our country. And most importantly, thank you for everything you do for our veterans and anybody that needs help today, because that's what I was going to say.
If there's any veterans out there that are struggling with anything, you know, use my story as an example. Check out that podcast. It's called Defiant from Legacy on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's a 6-story episode. You can listen to it while you're driving to work or just hanging out in your man cave or whatever. It's six episodes and they're about 40 minutes a piece. And it really, really goes into depth in a lot of things from more than a single-sided view. So definitely check that out. That's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's Defiant on Legacy.
Hoorah.
Nice.
Appreciate you guys for having me on, man. Thank you so much, and I'll see you at the gala.
Hey, hoorah, Eric. Appreciate it, brother.
Be careful.
And I do want to say one thing. If there's this custom prosthetic maker out there that can make Eric a crayon leg, I'll pay for it. I just want to get him a Marine Corps crayon leg.
See that there?
Oh, fuck, he's already got it. He's got the Marine Corps on there. Damn. You got to put a crayon on there somewhere, bro. Your favorite flavor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've got a couple other legs for that.
That's so fucking awesome.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
shit.
Oh, yeah, brother. Well, thank you again for coming on, man. We appreciate it. And if there's ever anything we can do for you, if you ever have an event that's going down with your programs, or you ever have anything that you want people to get behind, we're a text away.
Yeah, bro.
And you can come on here anytime you want to promote anything that you're doing, whatever we can do to help. That's what we want to do.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take you guys up on that, man.
For sure.
Yeah, bro. And then the next time we're in San Antonio, I did hear earlier that you do like to drink some beers, so we're going to Long Tab.
Well, 100%. I told him, hey, that's where Carlos Calzado lives. We need to put him in touch with Carlos.
Yeah.
Get him connected into the barbecue, since he's a cook, he's a chef, he does that shit.
Yeah,
get him connected with Carlos. Maybe he can get involved in the Texas barbecue community and do some pretty cool shit. So.
And then go
barbecue and boxing never goes wrong, bro.
Nah, bro, fuck no.
Never goes wrong.
Punch in the face, eat a rib, dude. Fucking great life.
Drink a beer afterwards, yeah.
That's it, dude.
He's gonna win, or he's really gonna win. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Either way.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good shit, man.
All right, man. Thank
Appreciate
you,
it,
brother.
guys.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Morante. There you go. Love it.
There you go. There you go.
That may have been the best interview we've done, fellas.
Yeah, he was awesome. His story just, impressive. Very impressive. But yeah, I think we should hook him up, get him in touch with Carlos. Carlos is in San Antonio.
No, bro, not till after the Danny Deets, bro. You don't want this fucking professional chef getting hooked up with Carlos Calzada and going beating our ass in this tournament. We got to beat Carlos first. Then we will connect them. September 13th, we'll connect you with Carlos Calzada.
That's why you're the brains of this operation.
That's it, Matt. I love you guys.
So Al, your ass just needs to go practice a little bit more. No more burnt ass fucking brisket. Tell your
I didn't burn it.
Tell your brother-in-law to cook the right portion of the goddamn meat. You know what I mean? Like, dial in, bro. Dial in.
I got you, dude. I got it.
Yeah, Carlos Calzada is commenting on TikTok that we should invite him to the Danny Deets cook-off. Hey, Eric, I know you're still watching in the green room. You're invited to come out. I'm going to share your number with the guys in the group chat, and anything that we do, you're more than welcome to tag along, brother.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally it's the week before the gala. So
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So next week we have Allie Breathe, Embodied Mindset Coach. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then like, I appreciate you being back, Al. That was it sucks not doing the show with all three of us.
Yeah,
but,
I know, bro.
I'm really glad you were back for this one.
Yeah, it was great.
I don't know what's scary, Bob. But anyway, I know you got to get out of here, Al. So why don't you start off taking us out of here, and then we'll go to Matt.
So I just want to thank everybody for coming in again. Thank you for joining us every week, right? And like I say, find your tribe. Find something you're motivated about. Don't just live in misery. You don't have to, right? We're out here, right? We're doing things in the community. We're getting involved. Get involved. And if you haven't done it this week, like I always say, reach out to somebody this week and tell them you're thinking about them. Tell them you love them. Do a battle buddy check. Just make sure you want somebody in your life that you serve with, or maybe you didn't serve with, but you know who they are. Reach out to somebody this week and just tell them you love them and you're thinking about them and you want them here tomorrow. So just reach out to somebody. I don't care if it's text, phone call, and fucking email, a damn pigeon carrier. I don't know. However y'all get down. That's Kentucky shit, right? They send pigeons. They don't have phone lines, right? So, but just reach out to somebody this week and let them know you're thinking about them and you care about them and you want to see them again tomorrow. So love you guys. Thanks for coming out.
For sure, man. Ditto that. So, again, Al said it. Thank you for coming in and listening every week. Listen, if you are listening to this one live, thank you, first off. If you're on TikTok and I can't see you, thank you again, because I can't see you. Thank God Ty knows how to use TikTok. But here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you're watching and you get to see inspirational stories like Eric's and all the great things that he's going to do, my challenge to you is to invite somebody to watch it with you next week live, or invite 3 people to subscribe to the YouTube channel just to listen to some of these stories of these amazing veterans and first responders and people that are just love America and love everything that we're about and the service that was given and the success they have after. Invite someone to take a look at it, right? We want everyone's story to get out there that we talk to. And the only way that these stories get out is by you guys helping us. And so the best thing we can do is to be very, very convincing to ask you to share our shit so other people can see it. So that's the ask. Invite somebody to watch it next week and send our shit to 3 people that you know. And if you do that, then they're going to do that, and then others will do that. And then before you know it, all these veteran stories get to be heard, and they live on as they should forever because we put it on the internet. You know, that shit doesn't go away. So we will see you guys next week. We appreciate you being in, and thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, big shout out to VFW Post 8790 RG. Thanks, Catherine, for coming on and talking about the 2026 VFW Post 8790 Boots and Heroes Gala. The QR code is in the corner of the screen. Check that out. If you need to go to the, the website, it is on the screen right now. Appreciate y'all watching the show. Big turnout on TikTok tonight. Of course, Eric had a great story, great draw. We've put all of his stuff in all of his socials into the chat. So be sure to give him a follow. Appreciate you. Y'all have a great night.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255. Then press 1.